Hi there, this is Jane, and in this video we're going to have a look at the Rockschool Grade 3 guitar scales for the 2012 to 2018 syllabus. Now we're going to be playing all of these scales in 3 keys, G, A and B. Altogether we have 5 different scales to play. We've got the major scales, we've got the natural minor scales, the minor pentatonic scales, the major pentatonic scales and the blues scales. Okay, so we're going to play in each of those in the keys of G, A and B. So what I'll do is I'll take each type of scale separately and run through all the scales for you. So let's get started. Okay, the first scale we're going to look at is the G major scale. Now what I'll do first of all is I'll just play it through at the speed that's required for the exam, and then I'll break it down and run through the fingerings for you. So here it is. Okay, so I played that then at 90 beats a minute, which is the speed that's required for the exam. I played all the notes on the beats of the metronome because all these notes are crotchets, which is quarter notes, and it's all with down picks. Okay, now these scales are nice and straightforward. You stay in one position all the way through the scale. We've got a nice 1 finger per fret rule going on here. So for the G scale, the lowest fret we're going to be playing is the 2nd fret, so you're going to use your 1st finger for that. And then when you play the 3rd fret, you're going to use your 2nd finger. When you play the 4th fret, you use your 3rd finger. And when you play the 5th fret, you use your pinky. I get a bit confused with these numbers sometimes. Okay, so as long as you remember you got that 1 finger per fret rule, you should be okay. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just run through the notes and the fingers that I want to use for this scale, and we'll show you how it applies to the 2 scales as well. So the first note is G, which is at the 3rd fret on that 6th string, so you'd use your 2nd finger to play that note. Then we've got the A note, which is on the same string again, but at the 5th fret, so you use your pinky to play that. Then we have a B, which is on your 5th string at the 2nd fret, so that means you're going to play it with your 1st finger. Then a C, which is at the 3rd fret on that string, so you're going to use your 2nd finger for that note. The last note on that string is the D, which is at the 5th fret, so you're going to use your pinky. Go on to the next string, the 4th string, and we have an E, which is at the 2nd fret, so use your 1st finger. Then we've got an F sharp note, which is at the 4th fret, use your 3rd finger for that. And on the same string again, we have the G, which is at the 5th fret, so you use your pinky. Into the next octave, we have the A, which is at the 2nd fret on your 3rd string, so you use your 1st finger to play that. Then we have a B on the same string at the 4th fret, so you use your 3rd finger. Following that's a C on the same string again at the 5th fret, so you use your pinky. Then we'll go on to the 2nd string where we have a D note. Now that's at the 3rd fret, so make sure you use your 2nd finger for that. Then we have an E on the same string again at the 5th fret, you use your pinky. F sharp on the 1st string at the 2nd fret, use your 1st finger. And the last note is your G, which is at the 3rd fret on that top string, so you use your 2nd finger for that. Okay, so nice and straightforward, keeping all inside the same shape as you're going down, up and down the strings. You're not moving your hand around at all. So if you can remember that finger pattern, it will make it a lot easier. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play the same scale again, ascending, just saying the fingerings rather than the note names. Because if you can remember the fingerings, it will make it easier to apply that scale to the key of A and the key of B, as is required for the exam. So here it is. Just ascending with the finger numbers. So we've got 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. So if you can remember that, it will make it easier to go to A and to B as well. But what I'll do to start off with, I'll just play that scale one more time with the metronome at 90 beats a minute with crotchets, all down picks, just to give you another reminder of what kind of speed it needs to be for the exam. Here it is. That's your G major scale. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of the A major scale. Now it's using the same fingerings as the G, but instead of starting on a G note, you start with your second finger on an A note, which is at the 5th fret, okay, on that 6th string. Still going to be using the same finger pattern of 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so it just makes it in the key of A this time. So I'll play this for you along with the metronome at the 90 beats a minute that's required for the exam, or with down picks, and making sure I only play that top note once, and then we'll move on to the B. Here it is. And that's your A major scale. Okay, the last major scale is the B major. So we're going to apply the finger pattern that we've already learned to the B, which starts at the 7th fret on that 6th string. So the finger pattern again is 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. Okay, I'm just going to play it with the metronome at the 90 beats a minute that's required for the exam. Remember, all with down picks, and make sure you don't play that top note twice. Here it comes. And that's the last of your major scales. The next set of scales is the natural minor scales. And again, we're going to be playing these in the keys of G, A and B. So what I'll do is I'll start on the G and I'll play it through for you at the speed that's required for the exam. Then I'll show you the fingerings and how it applies to the other two keys. So here is the G natural minor scale. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier than the major scales because there's a bit of a position shift going on here. Now we start off for the G in 3rd position. Okay, so we're going to be using our first finger at the 3rd fret, and then we're going to use the 1 finger per fret rule again. So by the time you get to the 6th fret, you're using your pinky. Okay, now on the 6th string, we're going to be playing the 3rd fret, the 5th fret, and the 6th fret. So that's going to be your 1st finger, 3rd finger, and your pinky. Okay, the same pattern is going to apply on the next string as well. 1st finger, 3rd finger, pinky. Okay. When we get to the next string, we could still stay in the same position because we've got a 3rd fret and a 5th fret. Okay, so you could use your 1st finger and your 3rd finger here. But what I'm going to ask you to do is use your 1st finger and squeeze your pinky into that note. Because on the next string, we're going to be moving back a fret to the 2nd fret. And if we use our pinky there, it means we can stretch our 1st finger back to that 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Makes the transition a little bit smoother and you've got less stretching going on with your 1st finger. Okay, so you've got 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, squeeze your pinky in. Then the next string, we've got an A note there, which is with your 1st finger at the 2nd fret. Then you can use your 2nd finger at the 3rd fret, and then your pinky, okay, at the 5th fret. So it's in 2nd position there. So you can use the 1 finger per fret rule there, okay. When we go to the next string though, we're going to have to squeeze our first finger in because we're coming back up to the 3rd fret again and stretching all the way out to the 6th. So you're going to get your first finger at the 3rd fret, so you can use your 2nd finger at the 4th fret and your pinky at the 6th. And to finish off, it's just your first finger on that first string at the 3rd fret for the G. Okay, so you just got to watch out for that 3rd string because you move back a fret for it, and you've got to compensate with your fingers and then move it back up again. Okay, so I'm just going to play it nice and slowly for you so you can watch my fingers and I'll describe it as I'm going along. So we've got 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Squeeze your pinky in, and then we're moving back a fret. And you've got the 1, 2, 4. Squeeze your first finger into the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 4, 1. And the same come back the other way. Pinky, 2nd finger, 1st finger. This time you have to squeeze your pinky in to the 5th fret. So you got the 4th finger, then the 2nd, then the 1st. Get that pinky into that 5th fret, and then squeeze your first finger in to the 3rd fret and stretch back out for 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1. Okay, so as long as you remember to just fiddle around with your pinky and your first finger to stretch back to that 1st fret for the 3rd string, sorry, the 2nd fret for the 3rd string, it will make it a lot easier. If you carry on using your 3rd finger and stretch back, it's a bit of a stretch that, and you're more likely to make a mistake with it. So if you use that little special fingering, it'll make it easier. Okay, so once we can play that, we can apply it to the other 2 scales. But first of all, I'm going to play that scale one more time with the metronome at the 90 beats a minute, or with down picks, making sure I pivot on that top note. I don't play it twice. Here it is. So that's your G natural minor scale. Okay, so let's take the fingering that we've just learned for that G natural minor and transpose it into the key of A. So we're going to be using the same fingerings as we've just done, but instead of starting at the 3rd fret on the G, we're going to start at the 5th fret on the A. Remembering that pesky little bit where we move back a fret on that 3rd string. Okay, keeping the fingerings the same. We've got 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Squeeze your pinky in. Stretch your first finger back. 2, 4. Squeeze your first finger in. 1, 2, 4, 1. And you've got 4, 2, 1. Squeeze your pinky in. 4, 2, 1, 4. Squeeze your first finger in. 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1. Like that. So what I'll do now is I'm going to play that scale for you, full speed, 90 beats a minute, all on the beats as crotchets with down picks and pivoting on that top note. Here it is in the key of A. And that's your A natural minor scale. Okay, the last natural minor scale is the B. So we're going to be using the same pattern again, but shifting up to the B note, which is at the 7th fret on that 6th string. Again, it's the same finger pattern. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Squeeze your 4th in, stretch your first back. 1, 2, 4. Squeeze your first in. 1, 2, 4, 1. And the same descending as well. So to finish these off, I'll just play it at full speed again with the metronome, down picks, pivoting on that top note. Here it is. that's the B natural minor scale. The next set of scales is the minor pentatonics. Now, this shape that we're going to be using, it's position 1. It's probably the most popular minor pentatonic scale out there, so most of you might have already had a go at this already. But I'll run through it the same as the others for those who haven't. Okay, so what I'll do first of all is I'll just play it for you in the key of G, starting at the 3rd fret, and then I'll break it down and show you the fingerings. Here it is. Okay, so we have a 4-finger per fret rule again here. We're not moving positions at all for this one. We're starting at the 3rd fret on that 6th string, and then stretching out to the pinky on that same string at the 6th fret. So that's going to be 1, 4 on the 1st string. On the 6th string. When we move to the 5th string, we're going to go 1, 3. So 3rd fret to 5th fret. And we're going to follow that same pattern of 1 and 3 for your fingers on the next 2 strings as well. Okay, then on the 2nd string, it's your 1st finger at the 3rd fret to your pinky at the 6th, and on the 1st string we just have 1 note, which is your G at the 3rd fret with your 1st finger. So it's a nice simple pattern to remember this one. Starting from the 6th string, we've got 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Okay, and the same going backwards as well. Nice and straightforward, easy to remember, only using a few fingers for that one, and the pattern's fairly even throughout the strings as well, makes it easier to remember. So all I'll do now, I'll play it for you at the 90 beats a minute, or with down picks on the beats, crotchets, just pivoting on that top note so you know what it sounds like for the exam. Here it is. And that's your G minor pentatonic scale. Okay, let's have a quick look at the A minor pentatonic scale. It's using the same finger pattern as the G, just starting on the A note, which by now I hope you know is at the 5th fret on the 6th string. So the pattern is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Okay, so all I'll do is I'll just play that once for you through with the metronome at the 90 beats a minute as is required for the exam, so you know what it sounds like. Here it is. And that is your A minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so here now is a quick run through of the B minor pentatonic scale, and the B note, you should hopefully know by now, is at the 7th fret on your 6th string, following the same pattern as before, which is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. I'll play it through 90 beats a minute on the beats, crotchets, down picks, and pivoting on that top note. Here it is. And that's your B minor pentatonic scale. Okay, the next set of scales is the major pentatonic scales. And again, we're going to be playing these in the keys of G, A and B. So I'll start off with the G, and I'll play it through at the speed that's required for the exam, and then I'll break it down and show you the fingerings. Here it is. Again, this is a nice simple shape. It doesn't shift positions at all. Nice and straightforward. It's very similar to the major scale, just missing a couple of those notes out. So we're going to start like we do with the major scale with our second finger on a G note. Again, we've got the 1 finger per fret rule going on here. So your first finger is going to take the first fret, stretching out to your pinky taking the 5th fret. Okay, so we're going to have a G, 3rd fret to the pinky on the same string. That's going to be 2, 4 for your fingers. On the next string, we're going to go 1, 4. And on the next string, we're going to do the same. 1, 4. On the 3rd string, it goes 1, 3. On the 2nd string, it goes 2, 4. And then on the top string, 1. Okay, so we've got 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1. So if you can remember that pattern, it's going to make it easier transposing it to the other keys. So I'll play it one more time through for you with the metronome at 90 beats a minute. Okay, all down picks on the beat, pivoting on that top note. Here it is. And that's your G major pentatonic scale. Okay, the next major pentatonic scale is in the key of A, and we're going to use the same fingering as used for the G, but starting on the A note, which is at the 5th fret on the 6th string. Okay, so you've got 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, and 1. Okay, so your first finger is going to be taking the 4th fret, stretching out to your pinky, taking the 7th fret for this one. So I'm just going to play it for you at full speed for the exam, with the same down picks, every note on the beat, pivoting on that top note. Here it is. And that's your A major pentatonic scale. Okay, the last major pentatonic scale is the B. And we're going to use the same finger pattern again, but starting on the B note, which is at the 7th fret on that 6th string. So just a reminder of the pattern, it's 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, and 1. So this time our first finger is going to be at the 6th fret, stretching out to our pinky at the 9th fret. I'll just play it through for you with the metronome at the right speed so you know what it sounds like for the exam. Here it is. And that's the B major pentatonic scale. Okay, the last set of scales is the blues scales. Again, we're going to be playing these in the keys of G, A and B. Now these should be fairly easy to learn, very similar to the minor pentatonics that you've already done. We're just adding one note, the blues note, which is the, I can't get it, what is that, a flattened 5th note of the scale. Okay, so it's exactly the same as the minor pentatonic scale, we're just adding an extra note in. Okay, so we're in the key of G. We could remember our minor pentatonic as 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, and 1, hopefully. So what we're going to be doing is adding an extra note in. We're going to be adding a note on the 5th string and also on the 3rd string. Okay, so we're going to have 1, 4, 1, 2, 3 for your fingerings, 1, 4, and then on the 3rd string, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. So I'll just play that again a bit slower. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. Because we're in the key of G, we're starting at the 3rd fret, and the pinky's going to be stretching out to the 6th fret. Again, the 1 finger per fret rule going on there. So what I'll do is I'll just play that for you at the full speed that's required for the exam, 90 beats a minute, making sure I pivot on that top note, use down picks throughout. Here it is. And that's your G blues scale. Okay, the next blues scale is in the key of A. So we're going to be using the same pattern again, which is 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. But this time we're going to be starting at the 5th fret, because that's where your A note is, at the 5th fret on that 6th string. So I'll just play it through with the metronome that's required for the exam, or with down picks, pivoting on that top note. Okay, nice and even, just so you know what it sounds like in the exam. Here it is. And that's your A blues scale. Okay, the last scale that we've got for the exams is the B blues scale, which is following the same pattern as the other two, but this time we're going to be starting at the 7th fret instead. Okay, so we've got the pattern which is 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. Okay, this time starting at the 7th fret, so your first finger gets that 7th fret and we're working up to the 10th fret with our pinky of the 1 finger per fret rule. So I'll just play it through for you like is required in the exam with 90 beats a minute, all down picks, pivoting on that top note. Here it is. And that's your B blues scale. Now at grade 3, we add arpeggios to the mix as well. We're going to be playing arpeggios in the same keys as we've played the scales, G, A and B, and we're going to be playing 1 octave major and minor arpeggios. Now an arpeggio is just the notes from a chord played one after the other in order, ascending and descending, a bit like a scale. So what we'll do first of all is we'll have a look at the major arpeggios. So the first one we've got is G major. We're going to be starting on a G note, the same as we have with all the scales, and we're going to be using our 2nd finger for this as well. Okay, so that's our G note. The next note we're going to be playing is a B, which is at the 2nd fret on the 5th string. And the next note after that is going to be a D note, which is at the 5th fret on that same string, but instead of using my 3rd finger for that, so instead of using my pinky for that, I'm going to use my 3rd finger, because the next note after that is the octave G, which is on the 5th fret of the 4th string, so it's using the same fret as the note before it, and it's a bit smoother if you use 2 different fingers for that. Okay. So it's a bit of a stretch getting from that B with your 1st finger to the D with your 3rd, so you might have to practice that a little bit, but it just makes it a little bit smoother when you go into the note underneath it. So what I'll do now is I'll just play it at the speed that's required for the exam, which is your 90 beats a minute, okay, and put the tab up on the screen as well so you can see the tab for it too. Here it is. So that's your G major arpeggio. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the A major arpeggio, and it's following the same pattern as the one before it, like we have with all the other scales as well. So as long as you can remember the fingers that are required, we're starting at the A with our second finger. Then we've got a C sharp note with our first finger, going to an E, and then the A above it, okay? Same fret pattern, but just shifted 2 frets up. Okay, fingers we've got 2, 1, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, okay? So as long as you remember it's the same pattern as was for the G, it's nice and straightforward. I'll just play it for you with the metronome. 90 beats a minute, all down picks, okay, pivoting on that top note, exactly the same as you do with your scales. Here it is. And that's your A major arpeggio. Okay, the last major arpeggio we have is the B. So we start at the 7th fret here. Okay, so as long as we remember our finger numbers, we should be okay. So we've got our second finger, followed by our first finger on the next string. Then our third finger is stretching 1 fret higher than it would normally, so the pinky can go underneath it at the same fret, okay? Exactly the same fingering as is required for the other 2 arpeggios. So all I'll do now is I'll just play that for you with the metronome at the 90 beats a minute. Here it is. And that's your B major arpeggio. Right, the last set of arpeggios are the minor arpeggios. There's not much difference really between the major and the minors. There's actually only one note different in here, and it's the second note you play. Okay, the root note stays the same, and the fifth and the octave stay the same. Okay, because we're going to be changing that next second note in the arpeggio, we're going to have to change the finger that we use to start off with. So before on the major one we're using our second finger on the G to start, this time we're going to have to use our first finger, okay, because we're going to be stretching to the 6th fret on the same string for that second note in the arpeggio, which is called the minor third, because if you were playing the scale, that would be the 3rd note of the scale, okay. And then our next note is at the 5th fret on your 5th string, so you're going to use your 3rd finger to play that. And if you remember from before, the last note was tucked underneath the 3rd note, your octave, which is again at the 5th fret, but this time on the 4th string. And all I do for this is just bring my pinky in, just to make the transition a bit smoother. So finger-wise, we've got our first finger, our pinky, our 3rd finger, and then I'm tucking my pinky underneath to the 5th fret on that 4th string, just to make it sound a little bit smoother. So what I'll do now is I'll just play it through at the speed that's required for the exam, the 90 beats, all with down picks, pivoting on that top note, with a tab on the screen as well so you can see it, so you know what it sounds like for the exam. Here it is. So that's your G minor arpeggio. Okay, the next arpeggio is in the key of A, using the same fingerings, but this time we're just going to be starting on the A note first. So you've got your first finger stretching out to your pinky at the 8th fret, then you've got your 3rd finger coming into the 7th fret and your pinky tucking underneath it on the 4th string to the 7th fret, okay? Same pattern as we did for the G just a minute ago, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just play it for you with the metronome again at the full speed so you know what it sounds like in the exam. Here it is. And that's your A minor arpeggio. Okay, the last arpeggio is your B minor arpeggio. And again, we're going to be using the same pattern as we have with the G and the A, but this time sticking it on the B note, which is at the 7th fret on your 6th string. Same fingerings as before. First finger stretching out to your pinky, which is this time at the 10th fret. Your third finger is going to be at the 9th fret, and your pinky is going to tuck underneath at the 9th fret as well on the 4th string. So basically, once you've learned one fingering, you can play them all, just moving it up a couple of frets each time. So what I'll do is I'll just play it for you with the metronome, so at the 90 beats a minute, all down picks, pivoting on that top note, and the tab will be on the screen for you as well, so you can see the fingers for it. Here it comes. And that's your final arpeggio, the B minor. You can get the full tabs for the scales and arpeggios for grade 3 on my website. There's a link in the description below. There's also some handy tips there on how to practice them with some scale sequences to play through to really get them ingrained in your brain, because the scales are easy marks in your exam. If you practice them every time you pick up your guitar, you're going to pass them really well. Okay, so thanks for watching. You can subscribe to me on Twitter, on Facebook, and you can also check my website. Like I said, the link is below. I'm sticking lessons up there pretty much all the time. If you need any help with anything specific, send me an email. I'll see what I can do for you. I also provide lessons via Skype. I've got quite a few people at the minute who are doing Rockschool exams, and also associated board exam, classical guitar exams, or via Skype, and they work really well. So if you're struggling because the exams are coming up, drop me a line and I'll see what I can do for you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.